You know, in our modern era of artificial intelligence, where machines are just rapidly mastering logic, computation, and absolutely massive mountains of data, there's one frontier they literally cannot conquer, and that's the human mind. Cultivating genuine self-awareness using ancient wisdom, well, it isn't just a quaint idea anymore. It's arguably our most vital asset right now. So today, we're unpacking a 2,500-year-old Buddhist text called the Anangana Sutta. It offers a surprisingly modern, deeply piercing psychological toolkit for navigating our inner world. And trust me, it speaks to our current digital age in ways you probably wouldn't expect.
Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today's explainer. First up, we'll touch on the mind crisis in the AI era. Then, the 4 types of people. After that, we'll explore the hidden rust on our minds, look at the bronze bowl analogy, and finally, wrap up with how to actually refine your mind.
Section 1, the mind crisis in the AI era, human ego versus technology. Section 2, the 4 types of people and their levels of self-awareness. Now, before we really get into those specific categories, we kind of need a baseline metric, right? The profound framework we're about to explore comes from Sāriputta. He was one of the Buddha's chief disciples, and he centers his entire analysis on defilements, or kilesa. So what does that mean? Basically, these are the inner flaws, the impurities, and the unskillful qualities that just cloud the human mind. Think of them as the cognitive and emotional distortions that drive our selfish behavior. And why does this matter so much? Because quite simply, before you can fix a problem, you have to admit the problem actually exists. These defilements are like the quiet background operating system running our petty grievances, our quick tempers, and our irrational fears. Truly understanding them is the absolute foundation for any real personal growth. And this is where it's really fascinating. Sāriputta presents this revolutionary idea. He doesn't judge people by their absolute flawless perfection. Instead, he categorizes them entirely by their level of internal self-awareness. Imagine 2 factors, whether someone actually has inner flaws and whether they are aware of them. The insight here is just profound. If you have inner flaws, but you actually know you have them, you are considered an excellent person. Wait, what? Why? Because you possess the raw material for change. You can actively work to remove those flaws. Conversely, if you are somehow flawless, or let's be real, you just believe you are, but you lack the self-awareness to truly know your own mind, you are categorized as an inferior person. You essentially become highly vulnerable to future corruption. Just think about a leader who refuses to admit a mistake versus one who owns it, right? The one who acknowledges their own imperfections demonstrates ultimate strength, while the unaware one is pretty much destined to fall. Section 3, rust in our minds, the meaning of Ananga. Okay, so we know that acknowledging our flaws makes us an excellent person, but what do these defilements actually look like in our day-to-day lives? Well, the text uses a highly specific term for this, angana. It refers to evil, unskillful desires. It's the hidden blemishes, the rust, or the subtle hypocrisy of the mind. Now, we aren't necessarily talking about massive public crimes here. Angana represents the highly specific, ego-driven desires we all secretly harbor and desperately try to hide from the rest of the world. It's that insidious slow decay of our character that happens when absolutely nobody else is watching. Sāriputta gives us incredibly specific examples of this mental rust. Think about it, hiding your personal mistakes, or feeling anger when you're criticized publicly but wishing you'd only be corrected in private, demanding the best seats, the finest food, or the highest status in a room, desiring exclusive respect from your peers, or feeling this deep jealousy when others get the attention or the perks you think you deserve. Now, while Sāriputta was talking to monastic practitioners over 2.5 millennia ago, human nature hasn't changed a bit, has it? These behaviors perfectly mirror modern office politics, boardroom egos, and that quiet, seething envy we sometimes feel scrolling through social media. It's the silent rust, literally eating away at our daily interactions. Section 4, the bronze bowl analogy, maintaining mental purity. To really hammer home how this mental rust operates over time, Sāriputta introduces a striking visual metaphor. He compares the human mind to a bronze bowl bought from a bustling market. Consider the unaware person. They buy this pure bronze bowl, but they never use it. They never clean it. They just abandon it in a dark, dusty corner. Well, over time, the thick dust settles, the dark rust accumulates, and it completely ruins the beautiful metal underneath. It's a tragic, slow decay born of pure neglect. But contrast that with the aware person. They take that exact same bowl. They use it and they polish it daily. It takes effort for sure, but the aware person does the hard, consistent work of scrubbing away the grime, ensuring the rust of ego never permanently settles, and keeping the metal bright and useful.
But then, the sutta introduces an even more shocking metaphor about hypocrisy. Imagine someone who acts perfectly on the outside just to get respect, but secretly harbors those toxic desires we just talked about. Sāriputta compares this to a bronze bowl that looks absolutely beautiful, gleaming and polished on the outside. But when you lift the lid and open it up, boom, it contains a rotting snake or a dog carcass. It looks pleasing at first glance, but the moment the inward reality is exposed, the smell just hits you. It causes immediate, visceral disgust to anyone who sees it. And that is exactly what it means to curate a perfect outward appearance while letting your inner character silently decay. He then contrasts that rotting, repulsive bowl with a genuinely pure one. A person who has actively abandoned their hidden, evil desires is like a pristine bronze bowl filled with pure white rice and fine curries. Because they've done the difficult inner work to match their outward behavior, they are genuinely pure, inside and out. When their inner reality is revealed, there's no shock, no disgust. It's pleasing, it's nourishing, and it earns true lasting respect. The beautiful exterior perfectly matches the wholesome interior.
Section 5. Refining your mind. The chariot maker.
Toward the end of the text, another chief disciple named Moggallāna is just so inspired by Sāriputta's profound breakdown that he offers one final, incredibly powerful analogy regarding a skilled chariot maker named Samith. Moggallāna describes watching this master craftsman working on a piece of wood for a wheel. First, the maker carefully identifies the crooks, bends, and knots. Notice that. He doesn't ignore the flaws. He actively seeks them out. Second, he uses his sharp tools to relentlessly chip away the weak, flawed sapwood. And finally, after all that intense effort, he leaves only the strong, pure heartwood behind to make a perfect, reliable wheel that can carry immense weight without breaking.
Moggallāna draws a direct, absolutely brilliant parallel here. He says that listening to Sāriputta's piercing words about self-awareness acts exactly like the chariot maker's tools. For those of us who are genuinely trying to improve, hearing these hard truths meticulously strips away our hypocrisy, our deceit, and our inner knots. It actively chips away our mental sapwood, the lazy, ego-driven parts of ourselves, until only the strong, pure, unshakable core of our character remains. So the crucial point of all this is captured beautifully in a closing quote from Moggallāna. He says that when a sincere person hears these sharp, correcting truths, they don't get defensive, they don't get angry. Instead, they accept the critique, quote, like a youth fond of ornaments, joyfully placing a garland of lotus or jasmine on their head. Think about how profound that is for a second. A true seeker joyfully accepts the painful exposure of their flaws. They treat constructive criticism and the difficult process of self-reflection not as a personal attack, but as a beautiful floral gift that adorns, purifies, and elevates them. Which brings us to one final provocative thought. In an era of artificial intelligence where so much of our external world is automated, optimized, and artificially generated, how genuine is your internal self-awareness? Are you the beautiful bronze bowl hiding a carcass of ego and jealousy? Or are you actively acknowledging your defilements and bravely chipping away the sapwood? Take a hard look at your own mind today and start polishing.